What is up, everyone? My name is Matty, and you're listening to No Nerds Were Harmed, a podcast about movies, comics, games, and all things nerdy. I'm here with my co-host, Tyler. Let everybody know what we got for them.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
This long-awaited film.
Yeah, much anticipated.
Yes.
Some people saying the greatest movie of all time. We'll get into it. We'll find out.
We have nerd news for everybody. We have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We have a spoiler-free and a spoiler area. And then we have our replay watch, and we're going to let everyone know when our next episode is going to be. For nerd news, this is a topic we talked about last episode. However, recently this has come out to new light that Disney is pushing back a lot of projects. Yeah. And it's not just like 1-2 things. This is everything that's Marvel related. So our Blades, our Deadpool 3s, everything's getting pushed back. Star Wars, Avatar's getting pushed back an entire year, which kind of blows my mind because that third Avatar film is already
shot.
It's already shot, and they're pushing it back an entire year from the 20th of December all the way to the 19th of December 2025. They're also pushing back the Moana live action, and I can't. Yes, exactly. I don't think we talked about that last episode because that wasn't
good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, I'm not against them making live action movies, but dude, Moana's been out for fucking what? 7 years, whatever.
Probably less than
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing, dude? Like, you want to remake fucking Snow White that was 1937 or whatever the hell it was? Okay, but or Little Mermaid. But like, we're already gonna start making. What are we gonna just live action Cars 3 next year? Like, come on, man. Like, it irks me.
I'm ready for Encanto live action.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just my news. Is that if you're expecting some of these movies to be coming out next year, don't hold your breath.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not just big studios. You're talking TV shows, streaming services. This is going to affect every day that the strike goes on is going to push back things, and you're not going to notice it right away. But all of a sudden, you're going to be sitting at home being like, "Damn, nothing's came out in a long time," and this is the reason.
Yeah, I know we are expecting to hopefully be able to say that the writer's strike was over by this episode, but unfortunately, it's not. So.
And other unions are gearing up too. Because all the contracts are coming to an end. So SAG's already in talks of strike if it comes to it. Directors Guild. So it's just a chain reaction once one starts. So I hope everything gets solved very quickly because I would like to go back to work.
Absolutely. We want that. We want that for you as well.
My nerd news comes from the video game world. A little personal favorite of mine. Ed Boon woke up one day and was like, "Hey, we got a big announcement." I was like, "Okay." And he kept teasing you for a couple days. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Mortal Kombat 1 is coming out. And it is they're rebooting the franchise.
Yes.
I'm so excited. It's such a cool idea. They've basically switched Raiden, who's always been the god who summoned all these people to kind of be the Obi-Wan of the fucking good side, whereas you have your bad guys. Now, Fire God Liu Kang is Raiden, and Raiden is kind of in Liu Kang's position, where he's still, got electric powers or whatever, I assume, but everything in the slate is completely clear. So we're going to learn these characters through a new light and different relationships and see but a lot of them are all the same characters we know. So it's a very interesting dynamic of 20 years of these characters that everyone loves that now they're rebooting and everyone's excited about it. There's no one's pissed about this at all. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is a really cool idea." And then the best part about it was, "Oh yeah, by the way, it comes out September 19th of this year." In the video game world, we're so used to hearing about games 2 years in advance or a year in advance, and they start hyping it up forever. And Ed Boon comes in and just throws his fucking dick on the table and is like, "Hey guys, it comes out in a couple months, by the way. Pre-orders start tomorrow. We'll let you know information." And everyone's more excited than anything else. He's the OG of just took over a whole genre of video games and is the absolute king of it and just keeps putting out banger after banger after banger. And very happy from the Mortal Kombat world.
Yes, I remember you sharing the trailer for it and watching it, and I remember thinking, Mortal Kombat 1, what the heck?
Everyone did.
What's going on right now? And I think that that's already something to be excited for, is to say, okay, we're getting a reboot, and then you're watching this beautiful trailer that they cut together, and then you get the gruesomeness and the goriness of it at the end, and you're like, whoa, this is fucking gonna be the tits,
right? And that's their cinematic trailer, and then since then they've released the gameplay trailer where it's the same kind of thing, but it shows more what's happening in game, and it's the fighting system. It's just like, oh my god, Mortal Kombat, they're just the best to do it with fighting games. I know there's Street Fighter guys out there and all that shit, but
Tekken and shit,
it don't matter. It really doesn't. There's one true king, and it's Ed Boon coming out of Chicago at Midway NetherRealm Studios, dude. Love it.
It's exciting. My last piece of nerd news ties in with our topic, which is Across the Spider-Verse. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who were two of the writers in this movie, they did an interview with Entertainment Tonight, and they said that Beyond the Spider-Verse, the third film that's going to be coming out, is going to be the end of Miles' story. And they were very specific about Miles' story, insinuating that going forward, there might be some more titles coming out that are going to be with other characters from maybe here. Maybe we're going to get new characters from the third film. But I want to know if you were excited about any of that. If you want to see more, or if you're like, you know what, let's just keep it at this.
Call me old school, but not everything needs a spinoff. Back in my day, you used to get one movie that told the story. Now it's like we're talking like 3 movies isn't a crazy like trilogy to tell an entire story of someone's journey and all that. It's like now it has to be 3 movies, and then they get 2 of their own TV series, and then they come back in a 4th and 3rd spin-off movie of another guy. It's just like, I'm exhausted of it. They just have overplayed this card where it's like, I like the animation. I'd like to see more animated movies like this. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But like, do I need a spin-off of this character or that character from the Spider-Verse? No, I really don't. And I know people are going to disagree with me hard on that, but like, it's just getting old, man.
I agree. I'm in the same boat. We've talked about the Batman a lot. We love what Matt Reeves is doing with this. We love what Pattinson is doing with this. But we don't need a Penguin show. I could live without a Penguin show.
I agree.
I love Mandalorian, but I didn't need a Mandalorian or the Andor, New Batch, or any of those things. So
if you do a Penguin and it's amazing, you do Mando and it's awesome.
Yes.
That's cool, just doing one spinoff here and there. You don't then have to go, okay, well, we're going to have this show and this show and this show because Mando was good, and then it's just, you get in the spinoff fatigue, and it's just, I don't know, it loses a lot of the weight of the actual story for me. Even though it should be gaining it and expanding on that, it feels like it loses it for me.
Yeah.
I sound like an old man.
No, I agree with you 100%. Well, we're going to get into Across the Spider-Verse, but before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about the first film. Into the Spider-Verse came out in 2018. This has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 94% on the audience, and those numbers are very fucking accurate.
Yeah, that was a movie that in the movie theater, like I was hyped going into it because I was like, oh, it looks like a comic book. Like, this is going to be cool.
Yeah.
And I like animation. I like Spider-Man. Like 15 minutes into that movie, I was like, this thing is something I've never seen before. Like this is a totally different type of animation movie that I've ever seen, and it is so fucking cool. I love the first movie.
Yeah. I was very late to the game with Into the Spider-Verse, probably a year or two after it came out.
Okay.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's one
why did I
you're
sit on
sleeping
this?
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a game changer of just like, holy wow.
Because I know we had talked about all the Spider-Man films about a year ago, and we had placed this, we had given this in our rankings of where we keep it. In case people don't remember, I'm going to keep that for later on because we are going to say if we like Across the Spider-Verse better than Into the Spider-Verse, so I'll save that. But no, Into the Spider-Verse is an amazing movie. So Across the Spider-Verse came out this month in June 2023. It's currently sitting at a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 95% on the audience. Again, very good numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think they're a little high.
You think they're a little high?
I think there's a little hype fatigue playing into this. Again, this is a credible movie, and we'll get into spoilers of why my reasoning is the way it is when we get there. But I think this is a top tier animated movie.
Okay.
Animated going from that angle, like this movie should get all of its flowers. I think people are gassing this up to be a little better than it actually is as far as being, 4 points away from a perfect score.
Okay. Yeah, so this movie has quite a few directors, quite a few writers. The whole directing team actually came from producers of the first film. Like, the whole team is still together, just kind of rearranged in different positions. So Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin Thompson are the directors of this film. I don't really know those names. I don't know where they came from other than just being producers of the first film. The big names we're looking at right now is Chris Miller, Phil Lord, and Amy Pascal, and they are the writers. They were also writers on the first film. Chris Miller and Phil Lord are also the directors of the Lego Movie. Yep. They directed like 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, they do everything together.
So they're the team. But they did a fantastic job in this movie. Like, aside from our critiques of it, it's still a good movie.
Yeah, I agree.
So everyone fucking brought their A game. So my spoiler-free review. Once again, we're treated to a beautifully animated film from Sony Animations. It's well matched with some great voice actors, some great writing. The story is good. Like I said, it's just good to me. From the beginning to the end, it seemed like it ramps up. The beginning is kind of slow, which you do expect that from a movie. However, from a second movie, I didn't expect it to be as slow as it was in the beginning, and then ramps up. And there's a cliffhanger in this, guys. So be ready for that cliffhanger. Don't be surprised by it. It is a beautiful movie. There's a lot of animation that you weren't expecting to see. However, I don't think that they ramped up too much from the first film. It looks beautiful, but it didn't have that wow factor like the first movie had left with me. But I do recommend you guys see this in theaters. It is PG, so bring your kids to see it. It's just comic book violence that happens. My girls liked it a lot, so this is not one that you should sit on. See it in theaters. It looks beautiful. But we're about to move on to some spoiler territory now. Yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled, turn this off, press pause, come back later on after you've seen the movie. I think we gave people enough time to see this movie until we started talking about it. True. So go on at your own risk at this point. Let's talk about the soundtrack. I think the first film soundtrack fucking slapped. This movie, I did not like. How did you feel about it?
It's a spoiler to the spoiler, but in my opinion, the first movie did pretty much everything better than this movie.
Okay, yeah,
that's where I'm at. And again, this is not a bad movie.
No.
It's in my book, it's not. I don't want to say nowhere close, but it's not. It doesn't have what the first movie had in the least bit. It's definitely doing the same shit, but there's a lot of it that it doesn't do as well or worse. And
okay,
that's why I think that Rotten Tomatoes score is skewed. Because I do think it's a good movie, but it's too close to the first one, where the first one I think is better in a lot of ways than that, so it should separate it more in that score.
I think with the runtime that this movie is compared to the first movie as well, I was like, oh, dude, man, why does it seem like this was going
long?
And which is cool because I think the last 50 minutes of this movie I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. Where is this going? I didn't see that coming. And that was the last 50 minutes. I don't know how the last 50 minutes was for you, but I enjoyed it very much. But it was the beginning. We don't see Miles for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it starts off with a lot of Gwen Stacy, which is cool, but it also at the same time was a little like, okay. And we also kind of already know who Gwen is too. Like, it's not like we don't know who Gwen is at all. She was in the last movie. Uh-huh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We know who this character is. She was an essential part of it. So it's just like, okay, I get it. And I was like, okay, we're getting into like some Gwen stuff. That's cool. But to me, and this happened a lot, I love that they do the animation and everything's always changing in different styles and all this stuff. To me, the backgrounds of a lot of these scenes that would switch so quickly and be different styles.
For Gwen's universe.
And throughout the movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Throughout the movie, it had me so distracted in the sense of like, I felt like I was just always watching some kind of crazy like flashback, and some were flashbacks, but I always felt like I was watching some kind of flashback or some kind of like side thought moment where like things aren't hitting and weighing heavy on me when we got into heavy and dramatic points like they should.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know, and I just kept saying it was like the backgrounds, all these moments just felt like it was trying to be one big solid heavy moment, but they kept breaking it up with all this shit and so much going on that it just like wasn't hitting. And that started early in the Gwen shit. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. And it kind of just kept happening throughout the movie. And I was like, oh, see, like this is, and it wasn't, again, it's not the style. I like how it changes styles and I like all that. It just, something about it in this one versus the first one just felt way more like jittered. Like it just, I don't know.
For me, it was sitting down to watch a Miles Morales movie, not seeing Miles Morales till 20 minutes in.
It was weird.
I get it that Gwen's character, everything that happens with her in these first 20 minutes are integral to the end of this movie because she needs to learn, and we learn along with her like what she had learned. But it was just 20 minutes. I was like,
I have a big problem
can't let it
with
go.
The Gwen like storyline to begin, and then at the end of the movie how it all turns out and shit like that too. I think it's ridiculous.
But it was it was just too long. I think the beginning could have been edited a little bit quicker, or just began with fucking Miles.
When you told me you saw it, you're like, I thought it was a little too long. And it's like, not necessarily. Like, there's a lot of times movies are too long. You're like, yo, just cut that fucking scene out, bro. This movie's not like that, but they could have taken 2 minutes out of this scene, 2 minutes out of that scene, and like a lot of the time, because by the end of the movie, you're feeling it. You're like, damn, this is a long movie.
Yeah,
we need to get there.
To backstep a little bit, so all the actors in this movie, a lot of actors came back from the first one. We got our main character, Shameik Moore plays Miles, Haley Steinfeld as Gwen, Jack Johnson as Peter B. Parker. I love them all. They all did a great job again.
Yeah.
New cast, we have Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara or Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah.
Menacing as fuck, man. I thought he did a very good job.
Yeah, he's good.
He was scary. Jason Schwartzman as Spot, which kind of hard at first.
I like Spot.
Spot was really cool because, so I listened to Simic and Amanda's podcast, Saturday Morning Serial, and they talked about Spot, and he compared it to The Incredibles, where you meet this villain in the beginning of the movie and they're kind of something that you laugh at. Right. They're not a big character, but by the end, they're fucking massive.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty cool comparison to make it to The Incredibles.
You're starting to see in comic book movies nowadays, because they've ran through the big apex villains so many times, that now they're starting to use like BC villains and just like making them upgrade their villainry. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like that's kind of like what's going on here. And again, I don't read a lot of Miles, so I don't know who the fuck,
me either,
the real storyline of Spot and all that shit, but I know who that character is. So when it starts how it starts, I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, we're going to take a fucking schluck character and this dude's going to be the big bad guy at the end. Like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. He was a good voice actor as well. And then we have Daniel Kaluuya as Obi Brown, Spider-Punk.
Stole the show.
I liked him a lot, but his fucking Cockney accent was kind of hard for me to understand at times, man.
He was, Spider-Punk was a badass. He was exactly what he should be.
I agree. There were some surprise actors as well. Andy Samberg does a voice, Jack Quaid, J.K. Simmons, and there was quite a few other surprises as well. But it was a fun cast. Yeah, so we already talked about the 20 minutes of this movie before Miles comes in. And when Miles comes in, it's super fun. I enjoy every minute that he's on screen. The chemistry that he has with his mom and his dad, it's super fun. They're at this meeting talking about his future, and then he gets interrupted by the Spot. And we see this in the trailer as well. I like their first interaction and when they're in the grocery store. And Miles' dad comes in as well, and they're kind of fighting Spot or trying to catch Spot together, which is very cool because they have a good interaction with each other where they're talking about how Spot talks about Miles made him and he made
Miles.
Yes, he made Miles.
Had to deal with the spiders getting fucking tested on or whatever.
And his dad is like, Spider-Man, why'd you make this guy? And he goes, I didn't make him. I'm sorry. It was just a fun scene. I really enjoyed it.
It has good moments of like, his dad is like bitching to Spider-Man about his son Miles being kind of like a fuck up and fucking that shit up, and Miles has to act like he's not Miles, so he can't defend Miles, but he's also trying to defend Miles. He's like, cut him some slack. Like, it's just like a good moment where he's like, Miles has his guard up and his dad has his guard down quite a bit. So it's a good start, and it's always fun. It's even if you play the Miles Morales video game, it's just like playing Peter Parker. Like, Miles has a way he talks and how his character's built where he's a fun character. He's a fun character to follow around. You get a lot of these fun Spider-Man moments.
In the games, is it more fun to play as Miles or is it more fun to be like a Peter Parker?
They play very similar, but at the same time different. I think Peter Parker has a lot more in his bag. You can do a lot more shit with him probably.
Okay.
But Miles is a lot funnier because in the games, Peter Parker's been doing it quite a bit for a little bit of time, and so Miles is the new guy. So like his reaction to a lot of shit is different from Peter's because Peter like is more cool, collective in the games, whereas Miles like, oh shit, like this is the first time coming against Rhino, like this is a new experience, shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just a different lens, and they work very well together. But Miles very like a go getter, so he's very like gets in trouble and over his head, and it's just like, like, it's fun. It's just, and he like I said, he's just a very fun character, and so is Peter Parker. So it's just, it works well. He's a Spider-Man. He's what Spider-Man should be.
Yeah. So there's a scene where Spot is falling into his own spots, and this is one of the first multiverse scenes that we get. and it's where Spot jumps into the Venom universe, and he's talking to Mrs. Kim, the cashier. How'd you feel about this?
It's a cheap pull. This is one.
You think it was cheap?
This is one people like love. I'm sure.
I thought it was super fun. Yeah,
I thought it was okay. It's again. This is me sitting in a Venom shirt, being a big Venom guy that is not a fan of the Venom.
Well, yeah,
franchise.
we're not. Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's like one of those where it's like, I just can't get away from the Venom movie. You know what I mean? And they keep trying to make it work, and it's like, stop it, please. Just I can't escape it. I'll tell you, it's a lot better than him like running into Tom Hardy.
Okay.
I'd much prefer him just talk to the fucking lady that sees all the crazy shit versus like an integral character that's like a very forceful cameo. And again, in this movie, I cut it slack. It's just like Lego movies. You can pull this shit in these kind of movies, and I'm going to give you a lot more slack than in a more dramatic type setting. So when it happens, I'm like, oh, all right, I see what they're doing there. I know they're not going to do this the whole movie. Like, I know all of a sudden fucking we're not going to have Miles running around with fucking Tom Hardy in real Manhattan. Like I knew it wasn't going there. So it was like, okay, they're going to get this out of the way.
Yes, I'm
cool with it.
I think that what they did was very tasteful in this movie because we do get hints of scenes of other Spider-Man films as well as, Venomverse. And we're only in there for a little bit. Like, we do get a Lego...
I was just going to say, I don't know when that happens. I can't think. But that was one of my favorite scenes of the movie. The Lego scene was fucking so funny. For me, I don't know if it's just because I love Legos and I love Lego Batman and Lego movies. But it just hit it on the nose. And they're like, you're one of our best Spider-Mans we have. And Lego Spider-Man's like, thanks, guys. And it was just like perfect Lego, like... That moment for me was awesome.
And this is the scene we get J.K. Simmons back as J. Jonah Jameson. It's super cool. I'm trying to think of all the other universes that they popped into.
They just fly through a bunch of shit like really quickly, and they do make their comments and shout outs to this one or that one.
Yeah.
But they don't get caught up in it, which I like.
Absolutely.
They have enough universes that they're exploring that they've already made that they stay there without like going into all the other like actual Marvel or Spider-Man universes we have in live action cinema.
Yeah, so Gwen pops into Miles's universe because she was back in her own universe, and the beginning of this movie sets up that Miguel O'Hara, they got all these different villains coming in to these different universes. And Miguel O'Hara is kind of this spider society thing. He gives everybody watches so they could jump to different universes and they don't glitch. And this is why Gwen is able to come to Miles's universe.
Which is the Vulture in the beginning.
Oh, that paper...
I think this is what ruined the movie for me. Because that was what I wanted for the next 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
This is what I wanted. Instead, I just got a million Spider-Men. And at some point, I was like, okay, I get the Spider-Man. Like, give me fucking... Like, the crazy papier-mâché Vulture from some crazy dimension now in theirs, and they're trying to, like, wrangle this guy. Kind of like the first one. You see these different villains in these different lights completely all starting to cross over and all that.
I think that would have been too close to No Way Home, though, where you got, like, Electro in them, so they might have been like, we don't want to do that exactly.
Yeah.
But I do know what you mean.
You get what I'm saying?
To see different styles
it just made so
much
much more sense, and it was just so cool to see like Vulture like that doing all these crazy things and like them being like, he's from this fucking zone, blah,
paper
blah, blah.
Renaissance
it was
Vulture.
Like, that's
and it did
the
look
type
cool.
of shit that I was like, this is awesome.
I'm interested to know when it ramps up for you again, because I'll let you know where it ramps up for me. So let me know if you're like, man, this is where I got excited again to be watching this movie. But Gwen does go to Miles's universe. Miles thinks that she's there just to meet him, but she's there with a bigger mission. She's trying to find out where Spot's going, because Spot is really the big villain.
He's tearing holes in universes.
He is. And Miguel and his Spider Society are trying to fix that shit. They're trying to get rid of him.
Which was also a fun actual callback to live action. We were trying to think of him. He's like, don't remind me of that stupid doctor and that douchebag kid or whatever it is. Like, that was hilarious. That little nerd in universe, whatever the Marvel universe is that they call it. Like, we didn't need to have a cameo on them to have them say that. Like, him just referencing that.
Yep.
That's the type of shit that I like.
That's all we needed to know.
Yep.
We know that exists because he mentioned it. Now,
which also, I was like, yeah, I agree with you, dude. I agree with you, Spider-Man 2099. Doctor Strange is a fucking irresponsible magician. He's terrible.
Yep. If you guys want to hear more about that, go listen to that past episode.
Yeah, please.
Because we definitely tear into quite a bit of it. But yeah, so when Gwen is leaving, Miles actually sneaks in. And this is where it gets a little bit better for me. And this is where they go to Mumbai-Hatton. And this is the Indian version of Manhattan. And we have an Indian Peter Parker. For the life of me, I can't remember his name. But he was a very cool Peter Parker. He's
the driver from Deadpool.
Oh yes, the actor, right? I can't remember his name. Damn
and
it.
That's what got me, and that's what kind of killed it for me. Because as soon as I made the connection, it's all I could see was his face, and I was like, I know this guy's not Spider-Man. You know what I mean? To me, it just was like, God damn it! But he was hilarious. He was funny. Again, it's all really cool. It's all really cool, but nothing was happening. And like if they went to Mumbai and then fucking aquatic rhino attacked, I'd be much more interested.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
when they go to all these different universes, they were just kind of running into Spider-Man and like crazy events that like were going wrong, but it wasn't like apex crazy villains that were doing this in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just was like, it felt weird because it was like, man, I just really thought we were going to fight a bunch of like cool ass looking different versions of villains that we don't know that would be in these universes, but it's really just like Spot's just like fucking ripping holes in things and things are collapsing and blowing up and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, for Spot being like, it's hard to say that he's the main villain, but he is the main villain of this movie.
Like causing all these issues.
But he's only in roughly 10 minutes of this movie.
And it's mainly the beginning before he starts really doing anything.
Yeah, he's kind of learning how to use his powers off screen, and by the end of the movie, we're like, oh, okay, so he's the big bad of the third film.
Now.
But when they get to Mumbai-Hatton, all the Spider-Men come to a realization that they have to go, that Spot is there, and he's trying to get stronger. So they need to go and stop Spot. They can't do it by themselves, and this is where we do get to see Obi for the first time. So
They keep talking about Obi this whole time, and it's hilarious because you can tell he's the cool guy. Everyone likes him, and it's one of those where like Gwen spends time with him, so Miles is like, "What the fuck's this? My girlfriend doing with this guy?" Even though it's not his girlfriend.
What do you mean you spent the night? Yeah,
that kind of shit. And then he shows up, and he's as cool as everyone says he should be, and like they make reference to that. Everyone knows this.
It's
like,
that meme of like, you and the guy she tells you not to worry about. Yeah.
To the full extent. And even when he takes off his mask, I think Miles is the one that's like, man, how do you even look cool without the mask? Like, because he does. He has dreads. His nose is pierced. Like, he's just fucking fuck the anti-establishment at all times. Like, hilarious. And he handles shit.
He does.
He knows exactly what he's doing. He's like a badass fucking Spider-Man.
I liked him more than I liked him in the comics because I did start reading some Spider-Punk, and I was like, man, I just can't get into the way it's written.
I agree.
The style
I
of it,
thought I always liked how he looked, but I didn't like him so much as a character. As far as where I really liked 2099 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In this though, I was like, oh, Spider-Punk's awesome. This guy's fucking awesome, dude.
I'd like the action figure if I could find the action figure. I've been looking for it, and I can't fucking find it anywhere.
Dope.
So in Mumbai-Hatton, they being the Spider-Men, what happens is they are trying to... Spot sets everything up that the whole city is just about to go down. All the different Spider-Men are just catching people. They're saving people left and right.
And they have other Spider-Men like setting up this like machine thing that's supposed to stabilize the universe from like... blowing up,
collapsing or something. Yeah, something like that.
They're trying to like stabilize it as this event is going down, and all these people are like potentially dying.
So Miles sees that there's a captain who is going to save a kid, and he realizes, oh my gosh, they're not going to make it out. So he goes to save them, and he does. He's successful. But the problem is that was supposed to happen, and this is what Miguel O'Hara explains is a boom event, and it's very important that every Spider-Man has their own boom event. You have to save
their Uncle Ben moment.
The Uncle Ben is a moment, as well as a captain dying, which is very important because they talk about how we do get a flashback scene of Andrew Garfield, and he's holding Dennis Leary's captain, so Gwen's dad, and then we realize that Gwen's dad in her universe is also a captain, so he might die.
And this is where I was this irked me.
Okay.
Because I understand they have the Uncle Ben moment and the captain moment, but they're essentially the same great loss type moments, right?
Okay.
And so it irked me that it was like this whole thing was like, oh no, Gwen's dad's a cop, and like, oh no, we know what's gonna happen. Like, yeah, I get the drama in that, but it also was like it threw away the whole, like, yeah, but she also already... Because they make it seem like you need to have this captain moment to become a true Spider-Man kind of thing. And it's like, well, that's what everyone's Uncle Ben moment is. You know, that's like what birthed Spider-Man. Like, we've had these moments already. So now when you have the stake of just like, oh, the cop's going to die. And I know it's her dad, so stakes are higher. But it's just like, it's just a weird, like, double event that's almost too similar for me to really care super much about it. Because it's like, they've already had their turning moment. That's what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. Now we're worried about, like, another cop moment. But again, when you think moment, what's a defining moment of Spider-Man? Everyone's going to be like fucking Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just, it was just weird for me. It just felt...
For Miles, it was Uncle Aaron.
Correct. And again, it doesn't have to speak. And for Gwen, it's Peter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In this setting, like that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be the same thing, and that's what's cool. But you all have that moment. So then, when all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, everyone has their own unique moment that makes you Spider-Man. But by the way, if you know a captain, that's also a moment too, because there's a specific. And that was to me was like, well, that's just kind of silly. Like if he had prevented a Peter Parker Spider-Man moment from happening. And now that universe doesn't have a Spider-Man, that's a whole different story for me, you know, and like kind of a little more interesting and makes sense versus just like, we have to not stop this less important cataclysmic event in Spider-Man's time period. If that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying?
No, it was kind of weird that there was there's essentially two big boom events that make the Spider-Man. But I mean,
again, that's me nitpicking a good movie. But that was one thing that I was just like, and they just threw so much weight on it where I was like,
no, I actually didn't realize until you just brought it up. I'm like, yeah, why do they have two different boom events?
It's just weird.
It is weird. That I might take it down a couple pegs for me.
It's just weird to me.
Yeah. In this Spider Society, this is where Miguel O'Hara is explaining to Miles that these events happen and that everybody has to experience them in order to become their biggest or the best Spider-Man that they possibly could be.
Correct.
And in this area, we see a bunch of different Spider-Man. It's pretty cool. There's like a Tyrannosaurus. There's like a horse that
anything
shoots
you
webs.
could think of, they have it, and it's cool. There's some really cool ones. There's some that are like, what the fuck? It was their moment of being like, we're gonna put everything we can. Yes, they have the video game suit. Like, it's all in there.
It was kind of disappointing that we didn't get to see more of the Spider-Man that were in the first film.
Yeah, well, one of them had a nasty coke problem and was in rehab, so that makes sense.
Yes. But we didn't get to see like Nick Cage. We didn't get to see, Peter Porker. We didn't get to see. I think we get to see Penny. We get to see Penny eventually.
Just a little quick. She's just like in the background, which was weird. It's like it's an animation movie. Like, could draw him in. You couldn't just have Spider Pig walk across the ceiling on one scene. Like, everyone would have died. You know what I mean? It was weird. Like, those are the choices where I was like, I don't understand that, man.
Yeah, but it was a cool scene. We do get the explanation, like I had said, that Miguel O'Hara is talking about these boom events. We do get to see these kind of, I don't know what it is, like an orb, and you see scenes from different movies. So we do get to see Andrew Garfield, like I said, and he's holding Dennis Leary. We do get to see Tobey Maguire, and he's standing above Uncle Ben. To my recollection, I didn't see any Tom Holland.
No, I think they just referenced the
Doctor Strange thing, right?
That event.
But we do get to see, I think there's an upside down kiss with Mary Jane and Tobey Maguire as well. So we do get these hints of like, they are fully aware of what has happened in other movies, which was fun. It was really cool to see. I know I was excited when I saw these scenes, but as he's doing all this explaining, Miles is having this realization that, okay, well, I had my first boom event where my Uncle Aaron died, and it was like his Uncle Ben. My next boom event would be seeing a captain die or having a captain die, and that's my dad. Mm-hmm. And all these other Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara wants it to happen. And Miles is like, no, I can save him. I could save everybody. It doesn't have to happen. Mm-hmm. But Miguel explains to him that if he doesn't let it happen, it can cause a rift in the entire universe.
Rip the whole thing open.
And we could all die.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. You're put in this position of, what the hell do I do? But it's Miles. He wants to prove them all wrong. Which, I mean, we're here for the hero, so we want to see him beat them as well. And Miguel is set up to be a villain. Miguel essentially is the villain of this movie.
This is the thing that kind of started to irk me again too. Is like, because Peter B. Parker shows up, got a kid, he's dad life and all that shit, and kid's funny. He's got some funny jokes on it. She loves being mini Spider-Man. Has a little knit hat she throws over her eyes, and Peter B's just a fucking dad to the max.
Yeah,
but these are like, there's a lot of moments where it's like. There's two things I'll say here, both of which people are going to be mad about, but I don't care. One, like, Peter B. Parker's kind of like the Parker that we all know. And it's like, he doesn't really have that Peter Parker moment until the very end, like with Gwen, when they both are like, well, we can do this when Gwen like decides, you know, she's gonna go do her own kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of moments where I'm like, we have a million Peter Parkers, and no one's really doing the Peter Parker thing. I'm fine with Oscar Isaac being like the dude that's like, dude, I'm doing my, like, you don't understand. There's a bigger picture. Let him be the villain. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But then there's like literally a million other Spider-Man where it's like, there's not one other like Spider-Man that's going to have that Peter Parker moment. Cause like Miles is having the Spider-Man moment of like, what are you talking about? We can save everyone. Mm-hmm. So that like irked me. And then Miles proceeds to escape a million Spider-Man Peter Parkers. We're going to act like Peter Parker Spider-Man, one of the top tier, if we're talking in intelligence and abilities and strengths and all these things, he checks a lot of those boxes in the superhero realm. Mm. We got a million of them, and we just let the teenage one, he just figures it out. Like, those are the moments where, again, I get it's a movie and you got to do these things. But, like, these are moments where maybe some of the other spiders help him. And, like, you know?
Yeah.
You get the core Peter Parkers back together, or the core Spider-Man of who are actually Spider-Man, which is what you feel like they're trying to do, you know?
Uh-huh.
And that's the shit that it just kind of drove me wild, where it was like, are we not going to put any respect on Spider-Man and Peter Parker's name? We're just going to act like he's just these B-type heroes, and Miles is like miles above these guys in like abilities and training and all that. It just kind of blew my mind, especially like when he escapes the way he did. It's cool that he's like getting away from it and all that. But at the end of the day, he literally just like gets away from a million Spider-Men. It's like, I'm nitpicking, but it's just, it just feels weird.
That was a thought that I had as well when I'm watching it, and I was like, you know,
and again, I'm not a Miles hater. I'm not like, fuck Miles. Like, I think Miles is maybe cooler than Spider-Man, but it's just crazy.
It's trying to think as realistic as you can in an animated film where you're like, okay, they all have spider sense, right? So they should be able to know when he's going to
shit that's like,
yeah. So I did have a problem. I did have a slight problem with it as well. Obviously, you're there rooting for the hero, so you want him to get away, but you're like, come on, not one motherfucker can stop him.
Yeah, like Peter B couldn't have stopped him and been like, go kid. Like, that's what I need. I need
just tie up
a couple other dudes that like just are on his side a little bit to help him get away. Like it's weird to me.
Did you think that this chase scene was too long?
I think every scene in this movie is too long.
Oh wow, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like you know what I mean? Like almost every scene could have like 30 seconds shaved off.
Okay.
Of it, and you're okay.
And 30 seconds will add up, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's, a lot of this shit is long. It is ridiculously long.
I remember being enthralled and being fully into it that I was just so excited in that moment that I can't really judge right now to say that if I thought it was too long.
I'll tell you,
but I've heard a lot of people say it was too long.
I got invested in the movie, even though I was upset what followed and when he escaped. I was invested when Spider-Punk was like, yeah, fuck that guy. I quit this thing. By the way, Miles, you should be doing your own thing. And it was just like the actual Peter Parker in the room just walked out the fucking door. And you know what I mean? It was like, and he didn't even help him. It was like, just keep him around a little longer. Like, let you know what I mean? Let him help Miles escape and be like, yo, by the way, fuck this. But that was one of the coolest moments for me where I was like, fuck yes, dude. Like, let's go. Because he was like, dude, this is all bullshit. I'm going.
Yeah, I had a problem with him leaving, though, because he does leave his watch there and jump through. And then that watch comes into play later on in the movie. And I was like, how the fuck did he do that? How did he get it back? So by the end of the movie, he gets it to Gwen. And Gwen's able to use it. Correct. But I'm like, he left the watch and then walked out into his portal into his own universe. True. How the fuck did that watch get back into her hand?
He is fucking... Yeah, because her dad says, the guy that left this or whatever was like suspect or whatever. Yeah. Because he talks, and so you know that it's Obi that left the fucking watch there. I'm going to assume since he's Spider-Punk, he stole that watch. He has 2 watches. He has an extra one.
Okay.
And he gave that one and still
I'm cool with that.
Portal hopping. That's what I'm going to...
I like that headcanon.
That's all I'm going to do because it fits his MO because he already is like, fuck these guys, so...
Yeah, so in the middle of them chasing Miles, there was a really nice scene. This was a scene that I cried at, and this is when Peter B. Parker is telling Miles, he's like, you know, the reason why I'm a dad is because when I had somewhat of a success with you, I figured, man, let me just try it on somebody else. Like, you're the reason why I'm a dad. And as a dad here in that scene, I was like, oh my God, I love this. So, you know, like you had said, you know, his daughter is super cute. She's got the spider powers and everything. So it was a cool scene.
I love Peter B in this movie. He is Peter B, but he has some very suspect pussy moments of just like, man, what are we doing, dude? Like, come on. It's not one Peter Parker's going to stand up and do a Spider-Man thing in here.
Yeah.
And no, we get Miles, which is, again, it's a Miles movie, but it irked me.
This chase scene does end, and it's with them being Miguel, Miles, Peter B, and Gwen, and they're on this like train thing that's going up into the sky, and Miles is being held by Miguel, and Miguel's like, you're not supposed to be Spider-Man. That spider came into your universe. It wasn't supposed to be there. If it never bit you, it would have bit another Peter, and you would have never became Spider-Man, and your Peter Parker in your universe would still be alive. It would have stopped the collider. Spot would have never happened. You're a mistake. You're a fuck up. You shouldn't be here. And it's a cool scene because you're having this realization that Miguel is there. Essentially, he wants to kill Miles in a way. Not in a way. Like he kind of wants to kill Miles.
Well, I'll give this to his credit. I will say this. From day one, he's like, yo, don't fuck with the Miles kid. Because he's the one that fucks all this up. So he's like, and even, what's her name? The pregnant.
Jessica Drew.
Yeah. She's like, you know why you can't go see him, right? And Gwen's like, yeah, I know. And you don't know at the time what that means.
Yeah.
But Miguel has made this very clear of like, yeah, you know that Miles guy? There should not be two Spider-Mans in every universe, which is why the original one had to die because Miles was born into it after Parker.
Uh-huh.
So this is just bad news. We need to leave him alone so nothing goes awry. Gwen doesn't listen. Everything goes awry. Of course this guy's pissed. He literally told you what not to do to avoid all of this, and you went and did it.
There's one
and
rule.
now he's got to fucking handle it. And that's the thing. Yeah, like you forcing him to be the bad guy. He didn't want to be the bad guy.
That's true,
but now
man.
he's got to be the bad guy.
So in a way, Gwen is the main villain.
Gwen
of this
fucks
movie.
all this up, dude. To be honest,
bro.
She does. She's kind of irresponsible in all this movie, dude.
I wasn't expecting the second boom thing, and I wasn't expecting Gwen to be the villain of this movie.
Telling you, a lot of problems are with Gwen in this movie, and I like her as a character.
Yeah.
I like Spider-Gwen. I like all that, but I'm telling you, I see through it.
I like it, man. I like these takes. You're bringing it to my attention. But Miles does get away. He gets to this That's a cool machine,
by the way.
Yeah, so this machine basically
cool, dude.
takes your blood in a way, or does a test on you, and it puts
you and tells it reads your spider DNA or your villain DNA, and it tells you what universe you belong in, and it sends you back there. It's like a foolproof way of having you being sent to a wrong universe, because it sends you back to what your DNA is, which it's cool because that's another scene we get to see just a couple villains, because dudes are getting marched in these fucking bubbles because they're not getting caught in some limbo jail somewhere. They're sending them back to their universes, because if those villains aren't in their universe, it's fucking ripping a bigger hole.
They need to go back.
They need to go back. Those Spider-Mans need to fight those guys in their universe.
And that's why this scene is super cool, is because he thinks he's going back to his universe. Well, this is the
cool twist. This, I will say, this was cool. He gets to this machine. He thinks, oh, there's nobody here. I'm going to be able to go back to my universe because I don't have a watch. This is the only way I can get back to my universe. Yeah, which is smart, too, because you're thinking that, too. You're like, how the fuck is he going to do that? And he sees the machine. You're like, oh, great idea. Because, and they've also shown, once this thing starts up, you can't really break in or break out of it, because the villains go nuts. They're punching the thing, and you can't. It's this cube you get sealed in, and then you get teleported back to your place. Yeah, this thing starts doing its thing. This machine starts running, and it spits him out into the universe. He goes to his room. It looks just like his regular room, and he sees his mom, and he tells her, "I'm Spider-Man," and she's like, fucking Spider-Man. Who the fuck is Spider-Man? Yeah, you took your braids out. This is cool. Mind you, in this movie, she's referenced Spider-Man already in their earlier talks and stuff like that. Yeah. It's a known thing. His dad has talked about it. Yep. It's talked about it, all these things. So, she should very well, because the whole movie, he's on the brink of telling his mom he is Spider-Man. Yeah, he has this battle in his mind. He's trying to tell her, and you can tell she kind of knows something's up, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's one of those Aunt May. She's a mom thing. Yeah, correct. And she's just clear as I've never heard that name in my life. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. And I was and it's this moment of oh no. The reveal of this is because Gwen does have her own thing. She gets the watch. Yeah, she goes back into her dad. She goes to his universe. Apologizes to her dad for leaving him, and the kicker is like he's no longer a fucking.
He quit.
He quit, so he's no longer a police chief.
Yeah,
And
so
that's, like,
she
the
doesn't get
kicker
that
of,
boom
the
event.
Boom event. But again, fucking ruined your own boom event, then, Gwen. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of the second boom is where it falls apart.
I was cool with that one, but her dad by the end of the scene does give her that watch.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, this boy left this
and
for you."
it's Spider-Punk.
So she goes to Miles's universe, and when she gets there, she's waiting outside the door, and she walks into Miles's bedroom where it's interspliced between these two scenes where Miles is in his bedroom. But when she walks in, Miles isn't there, but then it splices to the next scene, and you do see that Miles is there, and we have the realization that he was bit by a spider that came from Universe 42.
Correct.
So he went back to Universe 42.
That's the DNA that's in him now.
Yes, not his universe. So you're like, whoa, that's
Correct.
why his mom doesn't know who Spider-Man is, because Spider-Man doesn't exist in that
exist.
world because it
That
was
spider
supposed to
never-
bite him.
Yep. He
So it's
should
like,
have.
wow.
He should exist in that world, but it just doesn't because it went to Miles' world, and that's why that Peter Parker died.
Yeah, so this was a cool
So it's
scene.
really, really cool kind of thing. And then fucking his mom says something about Uncle Aaron, or does Uncle Aaron come in? Uncle Aaron shows up, and it's that moment of like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
Prowler.
shit, he's
Like,
here,
here
yep.
we go, Prowler shit. Because, like,
Yep.
and that's when Miles has this like gut feeling of like, oh no, like we already went over this. Like,
He's got that thought of like, oh my gosh, is he still bad? Is he the Prowler?
correct. That's what I'm saying. It's this whole like, holy shit, Uncle Aaron, all this kind of stuff.
And Aaron does tie him up.
Yeah,
Ties him up
and
to
it's-
this
It's
to a
very
punching bag.
Prowler-ish, and because he finds like his lair, kind of. It's like this shit. There's
This
shit.
is I thought it was just his apartment.
I think there's shit. I think there's like gear and shit on the.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he's like a tinkerer. I could be wrong.
But yeah, so Aaron puts on this the Prowler glove, and
Yeah.
he does something with it. He punches the bag or something like that. So you're like, okay, he is the Prowler. And
Miles says it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're the Prowler.
Yeah,
still.
he's like, I
Damn
know
it.
about this. You're the Prowler.
And he
he's
goes,
like,
no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
And one of the coolest looking Miles Morales alternate bad selves appears. This kid is cool looking, man.
yeah. This is Miles Prowler.
He's got dreads, dude. He's
Yeah.
like just this more like bad boy Miles. Like if Miles just went and
He's a
hung out
villain.
with his uncle, he's got the Prowler like symbol spray painted on him, like Miles has the
Yeah.
spider symbol spray painted on him, and it's this cool ass moment of like, uh-oh, and Miles is like on, or Prowler Miles is like on top of tied up Miles,
Yeah.
and then like the shit ends.
Yeah, we do get a tiny scene where we see that Gwen and Peter B. Parker
Yeah.
have put together a team, and you do
Correct.
see Peter Porker in this scene.
Yeah.
So we could expect to see Peter Porker. I believe Penny was there. So basically all the characters from the first film are coming back, and they're, like you had said, they're going to be the good Spider-Man, Peter
Right.
Parker, the ones that have this
Yeah.
realization that you can stop it. Let's join together with Miles and stop Miguel and his crew. And then we do get that cliffhanger, like you said. Like this is we do get another scene of Spot. We show that Spot
he's God mode.
Yes.
He used to be white with black spots. Now he's black with white spots. So it's your automatic comic book animation telling of like, oh, this guy's Super Saiyan mode now. This
Yeah.
guy's a real problem now. He's alternated colors. Like
which yeah.
again, he's cool. And he's very like, I'm gonna be the biggest villain you've ever had. He's like went full, I'm gonna be the major villain you've ever seen kind of thing.
Miles took everything from me, so I'm going
Yes.
to take everything from
Correct.
him and I kill his dad. So essentially, he's going to be the second boom event for Miles.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what Miles tells his Prowler self. He's like, "Hey, I got to go back to my universe because my dad's going to die." And he goes, "Well, my dad's already dead." And there's a shrine that in Miles's universe
That's
is
for
Uncle Aaron,
Uncle Aaron.
but in this universe, it's his dad, it's Jefferson. So he's like, "What do I care? My dad's already dead."
Yeah.
You're like, damn, so I don't know who the villain of the next movie is going to be. We're going to have multiple villains. It's going to be Miles. In this universe, it's going to be Miguel. It's going to be Spot. It's like, I just hope that this next movie isn't going to be wrapped up in 45 minutes.
I'll
Because
tell
then
you
why the
this.
fuck are we getting a third
I
movie?
hated the cliffhanger.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh my god. This is
I
the first
can understand why.
cliffhanger in a long time that like pissed me off. Like it just was such a like old school cliffhanger of like, yeah, damn, we are 2 hours and 30 minutes into this movie. We just gotta cut it. It's just gotta get to a cut to will be continued kind of cliffhanger.
So-
which, like, it didn't feel like anything really was getting wrapped up other than the nice twist of like him going in a different universe. That's cool.
No,
that is cool.
I get what you
But
mean.
it just was I can't explain it till you've seen it, but you'll know what I mean when I say it was a hard cliffhanger.
Well, here's the thing. So we had a cliffhanger in Avengers Infinity War, but the cliffhanger in Avengers Infinity War where like they lost. We have to see what happens in the next movie,
Correct.
but we still had an outcome where
Some
this was
part of the
this was a
story
full
was
story. Yes.
correct.
This works as its own movie.
Correct.
This movie does not work as its own movie.
No.
The cliffhanger's
even
too
if
open-ended.
you're going Star Wars, it's like, yeah, you got Empire where like the bad guys win, but at the end, like Luke still gets on the Millennium Falcon and gets like taken away. So it's that idea of like, okay, they have to now regroup. The bad guys are up 1. The score is 1-1 now.
Yeah.
This was not that at all. It was literally, we're getting to the juicy shit. Psych, see you next week. But this is a movie, so see you in 3 fucking years. You know what I mean? It was just,
Yeah.
to me, the cliffhanger, it made me so mad. I was just like, oh, you motherfucker. But again, I was like, thank God they ended that. Because if I needed another half hour of them to wrap something up, like it would have been miserable.
I'd said it multiple times before, like the second watch is always for me what solidifies the movie. I really enjoyed this movie, but I can see where the problems were. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, the spider chase was too long, the ending cliffhanger was too much of a cliffhanger. I get it. So when I watch this movie for the second time, I will be excited to kind of give it a more solidified answer. The very last thing of this movie is actually something I thought was pretty cool. And there's no after credit scene. It's just text, but it's MCU type text where it says like, the legendary Star-Lord will return. This person will return. And it says Miles Morales will return. And I was like, oh shit. Are we jumping into some MCU shit going forward? I don't know.
Yeah.
So there was a live action scene that apparently was supposed to be filmed. I don't know how that was going to go. If it was going to be like an animated Miles
I've seen a lot of meme culture online right now of like clips of Tom Holland being like, I'd love to see Miles come into the fucking MCU. And everyone being like, dog, do you know how that story goes for you, bro? Like, that's the funny thing. It's like, do you know how Miles becomes Miles, my guy?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
You know what that means for you?
I actually forgot. So live action, we forgot to mention another thing from the Tom Holland movies is that Donald Glover's Uncle Aaron comes in.
He's in the Prowler outfit, which is awesome.
It was a super cool scene.
He's just in jail.
I didn't know there was so much weight behind Donald Glover as like he's one of the main reasons that Miles Morales is a character. Like
he was supposed to play like early on. He was supposed to be like Miles. There was supposed to be a Miles movie and all
Crazy.
that. He was like the shoe-in. It was it, and then he just aged out of it, which is why they made him Uncle Aaron.
Which is super cool. That's a nice throwback. And
one of the better scenes of the whole MCU Spider-Man is the Uncle Aaron Tom
the interaction.
Scene. Oh my God! No!
Yeah, like
Fix
that parking
this.
garage, right?
Fix this.
Yeah. Predictions. Do you have any predictions for the next film? Do you think his dad's gonna die?
It's a good question. I didn't really think of that.
I want to assume that they're gonna stop the second boom event that is supposed to happen because then it would be proving Miles correct. So I don't think he is gonna die. But I could also see, it would be a bigger wow factor if he does die for me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if like they're gonna switch the Miles Morales from this Earth 42 over. Maybe he's gonna be helping as the Prowler, and they're gonna go together. Maybe our good Miles is gonna make the bad Miles realize, oh, you know what, I can't.
It'll
be
be
good.
some bullshit of like, as long as Miles isn't in his universe anymore, then he's okay. That it'll be something like that where like he's gonna have to give up his family and his dad or something and not visit them or like not be able to be in that universe to like cause the universe to still be stable in some way or something like that. And then so it's gonna be like he saved his dad, but he also can't go home, but he still gets to be I don't know. I don't see his dad dying.
I don't see it happening either.
But again, I'm the first one. I'm not against a hard death, man.
No, not at all.
I'm into it. So
bring it. Did you have an MVP of this movie?
Spider-Punk.
Spider-Punk?
Yeah.
Okay.
He did really steal it. At first I was like, people, he's written to be liked kind of thing. But then by the end I was like, again, this is kind of the best Peter Parker we have in this movie as far as like doing Spider-Man type shit of like kind of following his own beat of his own drum, but doing the right thing still at the same time. Like Peter B. Parker's still going to be Peter B. Parker. I love Peter B.
Yeah.
Parker. But like again, he was just so much of a dad. Which again, I'm sure if you're a dad, it's hilarious. But to me, there's moments of like, okay, I get it, you're Dad Parker, but like you need to be Peter Parker now. You need to have a moment here or there, and he just doesn't until the end when Gwen's like, oh yeah, we kind of fucked up for 3 hours, didn't we? And it's like, yeah, all right, let's go get the team back together. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's just weird.
I would have to say that Miles was my MVP.
Miles is incredible.
I still really like Miles. Like I don't know if it's cliche to say Miles is my favorite because he's the main character, but
no, he's cool.
I really
cool
like Miles. I
agree.
love Miles. Did you have a spot where you have put a Stan Lee cameo?
This is a movie. Every 30 seconds, something's changing in the background or someone's popping up. So it's like you could have put this dude you could put Stan Lee anywhere.
I would have just made him another person in the spider when they're all pointing at each other. Like I would have just made him in a spider suit.
Yeah, I don't know. And fucking working security at the like Spider-Man headquarters place, like one non-Spider-Man guy there. I don't know.
I was gonna ask if this is the best Spider-Man, but I know for a fact that we both don't think that.
Yeah, no, first one's way better.
So I was gonna ask for our ranking next. So Into the Spider-Verse is better.
Yes, hands down. Just hands down. It is what it is. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean it's bad, but I don't also think it's very, very, very close either. I don't think it's like, I don't have a hard time just like telling you it's Into the Spider-Verse is better.
I would say if I'm going to give this a letter grade, I had A- written down here, but after some talking about this, I think I'm going to go B+.
I think the B range is fair. I do, because I think Into Spider-Verse A movie for sure.
Absolutely.
So I think
not an A+. I reserve an A+ for, I don't even know what I give an A+, but I'm going to put it in an A spot. I loved Into the Spider-Verse. It was just so fucking good. But yeah, I'd give this a B.
That's fair.
I'd give it a B. So Beyond the Spider-Verse is set to come out on March 29th, 2024. I've heard some rumors that said Haley Steinfeld hasn't even recorded any of her vocals. And I was like, well, how's that possible? I thought they did both movies back to back. I mean, I know that there's animation portions that need to be done, but I thought they had recorded everything back to back. So with the writer's strike and everything, I'm not sure how it's going to go. But as of now, if you're excited for the third movie, March 29th, 2024 is when it's supposed to come out. But yeah, that's all we got for Across the Spider-Verse. Unless you got anything else.
No, that's like I said. I did really like it, and again, animation. This is a 13 out of 10. Like this is if you're an animator, I can see how you're like this is the greatest movie of all time. I get it. I get it because when I watched Birdman, I was like, this is a movie about actors. Like they understand. I get it. This is an animator movie. For everyone else, it's just like this is the best superhero movie of all time. It's not. It's not. It's not. I'm sorry. It just isn't. It's not.
I was hoping it was going to be.
So did I. I was very like I'm not like the Flash at all where I'm like scared to go in and watch this thing. Yeah. This I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna reset everything. This is the best thing that Marvel puts out anyways. And it's good. It's very, very good, but it's not the best movie of all time, not best comic book movie of all time. It's just not.
I agree. We're gonna move on to our replay watch now. My read is something that you might be able to chime in a little bit on. Mm-hmm. So Gotham Knights Gilded City. And this is the prequel to the Gotham Knights video game. And this is about a virus that infects modern day Gotham. So Batman and his crew are trying to contain it and they're trying to figure out a cure. But while they're doing that and trying to investigate where the fuck it came from, they realize this is not the first time that it's come to Gotham, that it actually came in 1847. And there was a dude who was the first mass vigilante of Gotham, and his name is Runaway. None of that happens in the game?
No. Okay. No, the like virus type thing.
Okay.
There's a couple things like that. And like big organization involvement and big villain involvement, legacy type shit.
Okay.
But not like there's a lot of like the League of Shadows involvement, and they're like, this switches to that kind of bullshit. But it mainly revolves around like them trying to like create these like zombie super soldier type dudes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's not like a huge part of that. That ends up being like the big part of the game of like why Batman and Raj was going at it in the beginning of the game of like what kicks it all off. But yeah, it's just like the League of Shadows doing Lazarus Pit bullshit, dude. You know what I mean?
They're usual,
you know what I mean?
It's just Tuesdays.
It's just a little bit different because they're like, oh, now we're not just using this to like keep the leader alive. We're like using it kind of like Bane. We're like souping dudes up.
Okay, gotcha.
So I don't, but no, Runaway does not sound familiar at all or is referenced.
Okay,
as far as I know,
he's a pretty cool character. But they don't do any flash forwards with him to reveal like how he died or if he's still around or what's going on with him. But it was a decent story. I did like it. I want to say it was around 7 issues. The full book of it comes out in July. So next month everyone could pick it up and they could read the entire book. I do recommend reading it. I don't want to shit on it because it's not bad at all. The art is really good. The writing is good. They do a nice flash from like modern day Gotham to 1847 Gotham and things that are cohabitating in a way. It's pretty cool the way it's done. Gotham Knights Gilded City. The full book comes out in July.
I've been playing the fuck out of Injustice too, dude.
Oh yeah?
Which is a game that's from, I was a freshman in college, whatever that was, 2014,
Okay.
15. Or no, 2011, 2012. I've been replaying the shit out of this game, man. And that's all I've been really playing. And again, it's superhero Mortal Kombat. And it just boggles my mind how they just haven't developed this into like full-blown property. I know they do spin-off cartoons and they have comic books and all that, but like how this isn't a flagship in the DC like lineup, even in the cartoon front, is insane to me, man. Because it's such a good story. It's just so good.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense.
I watched the Injustice
crazy,
movie,
man.
and I was like, damn. I was like,
It's
I didn't
great.
even know this existed.
It's great.
Because I don't play games,
dude.
though.
Yeah,
but
it's fantastic. And I just play through it, and I'm like, God damn, dude. Like, how are they not? And again, I know that they made the movie and all that, but like, how are you not just keep rolling with that when you're rolling with all this other kind of bullshit? So I've been playing that a lot. Yeah, just a lot of odds and then Chivo hunting stuff for me. I've been playing Lego Jurassic World.
I was say I saw you doing that for the Jurassic World
the 30th
anniversary.
We did a Lego Jurassic World, which is a fantastic Lego game, like all of them. It plays really shitty. It's very stuttery for some reason, which kind of takes away from it.
Okay.
But again, it's another genius Lego game. And I've been playing Halo, just back to the Halo days. So
nice.
I haven't been dabbling in a lot of new things. There's not much new coming out right now, and everything new that is coming out is not like ready to buy day one. Like Diablo 4 just released, I was really excited for it, but it still has enough hiccups for me where it's like I'm not getting into that yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna wait till price drops and they figure out some of the bugs. Because games today just don't come out complete. It's crazy. They just come out and they're kind of broken, and you got to wait a month or two for them to be fixed. So a lot of day one releases I've been waiting on.
Okay.
Other than Mortal Kombat, I will be. As soon as those servers open, I will be on Mortal Kombat. So yeah. So my plays are kind of all over the place, but
and you've also been watching something.
Yes, I have been watching things which I usually don't watch as much as I do. So it's been taking apart from my
You're playing.
My playing.
Yeah.
So I have 2 recommendations. The first one I'll say is just a movie that I saw. I saw Knock Knock, Keanu Reeves movie.
Oh, okay.
It's Ana de Armas, like before she's
Never
anybody.
seen it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a concept of like a dude just lets these 2 chicks in his house because they're like stranded and they just fucking ruin this guy's life. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
like
what I hear.
They kind of like seduce him and get him to sleep with them, and he's married, so they like get him to do this thing, and then once he commits the act, it's like now they're gonna like punish him for it.
Now they blackmail him and
correct.
Like,
All this
we're gonna
shit,
tell
correct.
you. We're gonna tell on you if you don't do
and
this
the
for us
movie is
now.
exactly what it sounds like, but it still was better than I thought it was going to be. Because I was like, Lauren really wanted to watch it. I was like, okay, we'll watch it, but I know what we're getting into. This seems like this is going to be kind of more of like, this isn't going to grab me very much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In reality, for me, once I hear Keanu Reeves, I'm like, boy.
And this is one that he's very Keanu Reeves in this movie.
Okay.
But that's why I loved it, because it was making me laugh, because it works with this. Because I told Lauren, I was like, dude, she knows who Ana de Armas is, but at the time, these are 2 like no-name actresses.
Yeah.
This is like one of her first movies. And I was like, you got to realize, like, it could have been Meryl Streep standing there, and he's going to say that line the exact same way. This is not going to change at all. And again, it's not a slight against him. I'm a big Keanu Reeves guy. I love Keanu Reeves. But it's just it made me it was hilarious because like there's moments where he's going for it. He's acting, he's going for it, and it's just like all over the place. But I loved it. I really did enjoy this movie. Like it was like in the 6s, 7s for me. Like I was like for being like just a kitschy little horror movie about like exactly what you think. There was a couple good twists and turns where I was like, oh shit. Like you have that moment where you're thinking as the viewer of like, if I'm in this situation, how do you get out? Or how are you doing this? How are you doing that?
Okay, cool.
And then there's a couple moments where it was like, damn, that's close to checkmate. Like you're kind of fucked. And then it like just kind of gets more and more like crazy horror ridiculous, but it's fun, dude. It's a lot of fun. Some boobies in the movie. There's some sex in the movie. There's some like, it's more of a thriller. Like, I enjoyed it. I will
Nice.
recommend it. I actually enjoyed it very, very much.
I've never heard actually somebody tell me about it, so I'll add it to the list now.
It was fun. It was like a fun date movie kind
Okay.
of thing. Like we laughed. It wasn't like scary. It was just like, I don't know, it was a fun suspense horror type movie. But what I really, really want to talk about is Peacemaker. It blew every expectation I had out of the fucking water. Dude.
Okay.
John Cena is so good. We all saw Suicide Squad. We saw what he brings to the table as Peacemaker, which is awesome. Suicide Squad's a fucking phenomenal movie, even though it didn't make money. Peacemaker and John Cena are so deep. They're like, it's Shrek, dude. Ogres are like onions. He's an onion, dude. There's so many fucking layers. It is insane. The soundtrack is amazing. Everyone in this show plays their role fantastically. James Gunn's wife, awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. She's like Black Widow, but cooler. Ooh. It's like not in a superhero sense, but just like that attitude and like the badass like chick on the team. You got all these dudes. The guy that plays the High Evolutionary in the new Guardians, he's like the main dude that like runs the team, because like Amanda Waller's just like in like 2-3 scenes yelling at somebody over the phone like usual. And he's fucking awesome. Everybody on the squad was fantastic. Villains are fantastic. The story is ridiculous. It's again the most crazy comic book bullshit, and he makes you believe all of it. And that's what blows my mind. That's the magic of James Gunn. He takes the most ridiculous shit and gets you to buy into it. Dude, Peacemaker has a pet eagle, Eagly, who should be the dumbest thing in the world and ends up being one of the most emotionally charged fucking characters in the entire goddamn show. It is insane how he does these things with like bullshit, crazy off the wall ideas. It's nuts. So my James Gunn stock could not be higher than it is right now, which is also why I've put off seeing The Flash, just because I know he's not associated with it, but I'm in this moment and headspace of like, holy shit, this is what the DC could be. And again, they won't do it because again, we're talking DC show and we're seeing boobies in these episodes. We're having conversations about non-PC things, very non-PC things, but no one is balking an eye on it because it's also building characters. Like, the bad guys are saying some pretty bad, heinous shit. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's because they're fucking bad guys.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I'm like, give me Batman, give me Peacemaker Season 2. Give me Batman 2, Penguin, Peacemaker Season 2. You can have the rest. I don't give a shit. Like, it was so good. I cannot recommend it enough.
And that's something else that was being pushed off by the writer's strike. I don't believe we're getting that until after Superman Legacy. So we got some time.
But I was happy they at least were like, hey, Season 2 is coming. Yeah. We're not just ditching this character. Because like after I saw this, I was like, this is another great one that's going to just be thrown to the side because of this mess. You know what I mean? Yep. And again, if you haven't seen it, I highly, highly recommend it because it's something that it's so close to the Boys vibes. Like if you like The Boys, you will love Peacemaker. There's not a doubt in my mind. It's one of those where it's like, it's par for par right there of like, this is the type of shit we're doing. We're just doing it in a more DC built universe versus The Boys is like, we're snorting cocaine and going for it. You know what I mean?
That's a cool comparison. I think you can get some people just off of that.
I very, very, very much recommend it.
Nice. My watches kind of coincide with yours. So one of them is a James Gunn project, and it is called The Belko Experiment.
Yep.
This movie came out in 2016. It is about a business called Belko. It's got 80 people that are in this building, and these windows close up, the doors close up, the people can't get out, and over the intercom system it says, hey, 30 of you have to be dead or we're going to kill 60 of you. Mm-hmm. So it's this moral debate of like, if you were there, what would you do? And it eventually comes down to like, hey, only one of you could live. And the problem is that they introduce some really good characters in this movie like James Gunn does. James Gunn has a lot of likable characters. His brother Sean Gunn is in this movie. Yep. He plays a really fun character. I won't reveal if he lives or if he dies, but I do recommend it. It's very gruesome. They do something in this movie, though, that really pissed me off, and it's that everything takes place in an office, and there's these characters who find a gun room. So it kind of becomes lazy writing in a way where these characters start killing other people with guns versus you're in an office setting. You could be killing people with fucking staplers, smashing people's heads with copy machines, getting very creative with it, and they just result to guns. And I was like, kind of lame. But still, entertaining nonetheless. I like the ending of it. I like the way that it went. So I do recommend the Belko Experiment. And then the other one ties into yours in a way because it involves John Cena, and that's Fast 10. I did watch Fast 10. Dude, I didn't love this movie, but I think it is one of the more...
Fast 10 is one of the better
believable ones.
I mean, we all know how I feel about the Fast and Furious franchise, whatever it is. But I think it's one of the better ones out of the more ridiculous shit that they've done.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the things seemed... I mean, they were ridiculous stunts. However, there seemed to be some more practicality to them that I was like, okay, I can kind of see that happening versus some of the shit that happened in the other films. Some exciting characters come back. Some characters come back that I was like, get the fuck out of here. This is stupid. Family is only said right around 20 times. I was counting while I was watching the movie, so nothing too crazy. I thought I was going to hit 50, only around 20. If you're a fan of the Fast franchise, I mean, check it out.
You've probably seen this movie.
Yeah, probably. But I didn't hate it. I'd watch this one before some other ones, but John Cena was hilarious in this movie. I loved his character in this movie. He had a lot of heart.
And that's what I'll say about Peacemaker is, like, we all know John Cena can be a hilarious character. We know he's funny right now. We know he has timing and he says hilarious things. We know he can dance. We know all these things. Dude, he has some, like, emotional acting in Peacemaker that's like, oh, John Cena's an actor.
Oh, cool.
Like legit, like, dudes on the Batista level. It's just like he still is doing, like, kind of weird movies.
He's just ramping up a little bit.
Yeah,
okay.
He hasn't, like, hit that, like, artist level of, like, I'm going to just do some indies, kind of like Batista's kind of gotten.
That's cool. Good for him. And that's all I have for my watches. Our next episode.
June. No, we are in June. July. Next episode will be July. We haven't decided exactly what we're going to give you yet.
Yeah.
We don't know. There's some things coming out. Barbie, Oppenheimer. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to be a mashup, if we're going to pick one. That will be determined, and we will tell you guys on, like, social media and all those pages when to expect it and what it'll end up being, because we're floating around a couple ideas, so we will let you guys know.
Yeah, stay tuned. And when you guys want to hear about those episodes or what we're going to be planning on doing for that episode, you can check us out on YouTube. We have some of our older videos on there. We don't do videos anymore. On Facebook, you guys can check us out. We'll be posting that episode when it's going to be coming out on Facebook. You can just look up No Nerds Were Harmed.
Yep.
On Twitter, we're NNWH Pod. We'll be posting on there as well. If you want my tag, it's the Matman22. You guys can find Tyler at Gambit the Goon. If you're a gamer, you want to check Tyler out on Twitch, tag, it is Gambit the Goon. If you're listening, thank you so much. We appreciate it. That's all we got for you guys. We hope you enjoyed the episode because we enjoyed making it for you. So until next time, stay nerdy. I'm Matty.
I'm Tyler. Catch you on the next one.